is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
That Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion, but I've only won one of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back when addressing Floyd Mayweather's comments about Terence Crawford. Smith fired back, making it clear that Crawford's latest victory over Canelo wasn't just another fight. It was history in the making. He highlighted how no other fighter has managed to become undisputed across multiple weight classes the way Crawford has. According to Smith, this is legacy-defining greatness, the kind of achievement that cements a fighter's place among the all-time legends. He argued that instead of downplaying it, Crawford deserves nothing but respect and recognition for reaching such heights. For Smith, Mayweather's negativity can't erase what Crawford has just accomplished. It only makes Crawford's triumph shine even brighter.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab. He used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather didn't sugarcoat his reaction to Crawford's upset over Canelo. He argued that this defeat isn't something Canelo can simply brush aside. It's a mark that will follow him for the rest of his career. In Jeff's view, Canelo was a reigning force in that division, the man who held the crown and dominated all challengers. But then came Crawford, daring to climb up in weight and dethrone him on his own turf. Jeff described it as more than just a loss. It's a permanent stain on Canelo's legacy. He explained that great champions are remembered by their defining moments. And for Canelo, this moment wasn't about victory. It was about being humbled by Crawford on the biggest stage.
But either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What does this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on because he was, even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. I think it does because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing, losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith was blown away by Crawford's performance and didn't hide his admiration. He reminded everyone that he was right there in the arena, watching history unfold with his own eyes. To Smith, no fighter in boxing's long history has accomplished what Terence Crawford just pulled off, moving up in weight and dismantling a dominant force like Canelo with such authority. He described it as a defining moment of Crawford's career, the kind of victory that separates legends from champions. In Smith's words, this wasn't just another big fight. It was a turning point in the very definition of greatness, a night that will be etched into boxing's history books forever.
This was Terence Bud Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because we only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence Bud Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
Crawford's trainer didn't mince words after the fight. He believes his fighter has nothing left to prove. In his eyes, Terence Crawford has already climbed to a level where respect should come without question. But the frustration is clear. Even after dismantling one of the biggest names in boxing, critics continue to push their own narratives. According to his trainer, Crawford isn't chasing another opponent or looking for validation. What he accomplished against Canelo is more than enough to etch his name among the sport's immortals. This victory wasn't about adding belts or headlines. It was about solidifying a legacy that no one can deny.
Terence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who's one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who has 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout, stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up and he never accepted the fight. And so with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford. And they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24.
Timothy Bradley didn't hold back when weighing in on Terence Crawford's legacy. He went as far as to place Crawford's name right alongside, if not above, Floyd Mayweather in the all-time great debate. For Bradley, this wasn't just about beating Canelo. It was about rewriting what pound-for-pound number one truly means. He explained that while Floyd perfected the craft in his time, Crawford just showed he could take that mastery to an even higher level by defeating Canelo at his absolute peak. In Bradley's eyes, this victory pushed Crawford into a different stratosphere, where only the rarest legends of boxing history reside.
It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it. That's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume down.
Roy Jones Jr. broke it down with a fair but powerful take. He reminded everyone that when Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo, the Mexican star was still young and learning the game. Floyd's experience and ring IQ carried the night. But Crawford, he didn't fight the green version of Canelo. He fought the finished product, a seasoned, dominant champion who had already ruled his division for years. And despite being the smaller man, Crawford didn't just edge him, he dismantled him. For Roy, that's what makes this win so special. Beating the Canelo today is a completely different achievement, one that raises Crawford's legacy to another level.
Generational great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does. And the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to fight it. And he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think it's on decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we have put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them fight.
Duke McKenzie could hardly believe what he witnessed. To him, Canelo looked completely out of ideas against Crawford's pace, accuracy, and non-stop pressure. He called the showing nothing short of incredible, one of the most complete performances modern boxing has ever seen. McKenzie stressed that Crawford didn't just unify titles. He showed himself to be virtually untouchable, even against the most dangerous opposition. His words carried pure admiration, making it clear that Crawford has now set a bar so high, very few fighters in history could ever hope to match it.
Know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight. Not way before the fight. You know, in the build up to this fight. Canelo's body language in the run up to this fight, you know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable, and Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense. Went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs, you know, hitting him with the head and the body, the little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close a round, knowing how to win rounds.
Trainer Robert Garcia gave one of the boldest takes on Crawford's victory, claiming it surpasses anything Floyd Mayweather achieved in a similar setting. He emphasized that Crawford didn't just edge Canelo, he dominated, winning nearly every round, while showing a fearless drive that Mayweather never tested at such risk. Garcia pointed out that Floyd avoided stepping up to conquer naturally bigger champions in this fashion, which is why Crawford's triumph stands apart as both historic and daring. In his eyes, it wasn't about the belts alone. It was about taking a gamble that few legends ever attempt and succeeding in spectacular fashion.
Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't, I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see that those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three division undisputed. He wanted to he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's 3 division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing. If Canelo doesn't have any changes, if he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear he retires.
Brian Norman Sr. didn't mince words when he declared that Terence Crawford's destruction of Canelo Alvarez was on another level, far beyond anything Floyd Mayweather ever produced. His assessment struck a chord with fans and analysts because it captured the raw truth of what unfolded in that ring. Canelo, the long-standing king of the super middleweight division, wasn't just beaten. He was systematically dismantled by a man moving up 2 weight classes. For years, Canelo built an aura of invincibility. He was the face of boxing, taking on the biggest names, overwhelming challengers with heavy combinations, and cementing himself as a global superstar. But in one night, Crawford shattered that perception. The shock wasn't only in the result, but in the fashion of the defeat. Canelo wasn't edged out on the scorecards or simply outworked over the distance. He was outclassed, broken down, and left with no solutions. It was a performance that redefined what greatness looks like in modern boxing.
So I bet against Bud on Porter. I didn't think that Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease. Right? You got to respect that.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way you won it tonight?
He won the fight by gaining Canelo's respect. I think he was already in Canelo's head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still humans and they hear what the people are saying. Canelo was I'm sorry, not Canelo. Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Makrimov or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bud has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was the biggest part.
Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather, having shared the ring with Floyd. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that's it's an opinionated situation because styles make fights. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But I mean, that would be an opinionated thing because styles make fights. You just never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras as
well,
right?
Different eras, different. It's a different a lot of things. You can't really say that.
Andre Ward, a legend of the sport himself, put Crawford's victory into its proper historical frame. He called it a generational fight, the kind of moment fans will look back on for decades as a true turning point in boxing. Ward explained that these are the nights that define careers and separate great fighters from the all-time legends. What stood out to him most was Crawford's discipline. From the opening bell to the final moments, he stayed sharp, composed, and fully in control, never letting emotions dictate his performance. For Ward, this was a GOAT-level display, the type of win that pushes Crawford into the rarest conversations about the greatest fighters ever. By dismantling Canelo in such dominant fashion, Crawford elevated himself to a pedestal where only a handful of names in boxing history can stand.
Beat Canelo Alvarez tonight. What was your thoughts on that performance from Terence?
Terence Crawford, great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight.
And he did that at 38, 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al Sheiks for putting it together. Just a great, great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there. The power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing?
That's it for today's video. Fight fans, stay tuned for more breakdowns. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss an update. Until next time, keep your guard up and your passion for boxing strong.